I'm Jessica.
And I'm Kira.
And we are the Keepers of the Books, your online librarians. And we are here with our third Halloween episode. We are here with spooky, creepy books for all ages, mostly new with a few favorites mixed in. We will start with young children, board books, and picture books. Our first one is Vampirina, V's Fantastic World, a lift the flap book. Now, anything for Vampirina will work for Halloween, but this one is just so cute. Now, it has lots of pictures of different places that Vampirina visits, and each one has several flaps to lift to show what's hiding where you just can't quite see.
Llama, Trick or Treat by Anna Dewdney. This is a very cute series that some of you may be familiar with from picture book. This one is a board book, and it's all about little Llama and his first trick or treat.
Mickey's Halloween is a lift the flap book from Disney Book Group, and you can come celebrate Halloween at the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Now, How to Catch a Monster. This super cute picture book, you'll find yourself dressing up as a ninja as you try to figure out how to catch a monster.
Pinkalicious, Pink or a Treat by Victoria Can. The power in Pinkville goes out, and Pinkalicious must turn into Pink Girl to save Halloween.
Monster Boogie by Laurie Berkner. This is a super cute picture book that is done for the song Monster Boogie. The character in the book is a big green monster with big yellow teeth, and he likes to monster boogie. So some of you may have heard of Laurie Berkner. If you haven't heard of the Laurie Berkner band, go discover her, because it's super cute music for younger children.
Fancy Nancy, Candy Bonanza by Jane O'Connor. It should be Candy Bonanza.
Yes, it should.
On this one, Fancy Nancy is dressed as a sugar plum fairy, and she wants to have a fancy Halloween. And this book includes trick-or-treating with some fancy words.
Monsters Love Underpants by Claire Friedman. There's also an Aliens Love Underpants and a Dinosaurs Love Underpants, but this one's for Halloween. Monsters of all shapes, patterns, and colors and styles of underpants, including armored underpants. Watch as they go about their fun little Halloween adventure with underpants.
Our big fluffy monsters are gonna wear underpants for Halloween?
Yep.
Kids are going to love that.
Great for your little ones who are trying to get potty trained.
Pete the Cat, 5 Little Pumpkins by James Dean. Now, you know the 5 Little Pumpkins finger play? Well, here's your version with Pete the Cat.
I love the part where the 5 little pumpkins roll out of sight on skateboards.
I hear there's a little bit of a rock and roll twist as well.
Ooh. Creepy Carrots by Erin Reynolds. He also has one called Creepy Pair of Underpants that might also work. So this little bunny loves his carrots, but the carrots aren't so fond of him, and they are creepy.
The Pumpkin Contest by Meredith Rusu and illustrated by Yolen. This is a level 1 reader, and Peppa Pig's playgroup is having a pumpkin contest. And their pumpkin is just too big to move. What will they ever do? Then we also have a DuckTales one, since DuckTales is really popular right now. This is Living Mummies
And the other story?
Tunnel of Terror. 2 very Halloween stories to spook your DuckTales crew and lovers at home. Of course, there are stickers, 2 sheets worth. And, of course, your favorite DuckTale characters and some creepy tales. Juvenile fiction and middle grade. Ghost by Raina Telgemeier. This one takes place around Dia de los Muertos, and her sister has severe cystic fibrosis. She's trying to fit into this new town, make friends, and there are some ghosts in the area. This is a graphic novel, and it is an incredibly popular graphic novel. The students at my school love this one, and I just can't keep it in stock.
Very hard to get a hold of.
One that we reviewed a while back was Witchwood by Tahereh Mafi. And this one, you have Alice, and she's tasked to basically help Layla bury the dead, or Laylee. There are 2 books in this series, and things go from bad to worse when the mother dies. So you have a couple different varying characters in this one, and they're told from different perspectives, but they do tie together for both books in this series. Fantastic series, and it's going to be for readers who like a little more complex plot.
Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crowe. This is by Jessica Townsend. The main character was born on a day that is cursed and is doomed to be killed when she reaches a certain age. It's not necessarily by the people who are in the town. It is actually a very supernatural force that will kill her. She is swept into another dimension by someone who wants her help to solve a problem. But if she fails, she'll be sent back to her original dimension to be left to the devices of the supernatural forces. The Mortification of Phobia Munson is a super funny comedic horror about a girl whose parents own a corpse lab, and she is working as their receptionist for the summer because the other receptionist decided to quit and take a talking head with her, and the other 3 talking heads are wondering what's happened to their friend, but because they want to be a barbershop quartet, but they only have 3. And of course there is the bad guy who has the Jones for the receptionist who left and is mad that she left and is threatening to expose the family for having a head go missing.
Okay, now here's a couple that we weren't necessarily planning on including, but the Seraphina series by Beatty is a great one, and it would be easy to tie that into Halloween. It's kind of a little spooky.
Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding, of course, by Alexandra Bracken. Second one will be out in February-ish, but you can read the first one for a fun, silly, comedic horror for Halloween.
And we've done a full review on that book as well. The Secret Horses of Briar Hill is definitely one that you could tie into a little bit of a spooky, well, that one has a spooky twist to it. Then we also had reviewed Bella Broomstick, Magic Mistakes, but that's going to be about grades 2 through 4. And now for young adult. I read Hocus Pocus and the all-new sequel. Now the first one is Hocus Pocus. You've seen the movie with Bette Midler. It's one of our favorites. In fact, we said that this would be a great reader-like with Prosper Redding. And then the book came out.
Woohoo!
Then it's been about a year.
And the sequel.
And the sequel, the movie's coming out very shortly. It's 25 years later, so the first book pretty much follows the movie exactly, including some of the text. And you have Max Dennison. He's just moved to Salem from Chicago, I believe, and he hates it. And then you have the Sanderson sisters, and there's the candle, and if a virgin lights it on Halloween night, then the Sanderson sisters will come back. And the Sanderson sisters come back, and they are after children. If you remember, they can control the parents somehow. 25 years later, Max and Allison are married. They have their own daughter. She's 17 years old. Her name is Poppy. Poppy does not necessarily believe the story that her parents and Danny have told her over the years. There are more people that have stories and fears from that night. Poppy wants to impress some friends. Her missteps lead her to have a newfound belief in the Sanderson sisters, and maybe her parents were telling the truth then about what happened that night and her Aunt Danny. Can Poppy send the Sanderson sisters back to hell, or will Salem fall victim to the Sanderson sisters' latest scheme? This is a great one, and I think you're going to really enjoy the movie. Hocus Pocus is a classic Halloween family show, and this one will be sure to add to it. I can't wait to see the movie.
Me too.
But I read the book, and the book is always better, even if it's the same. This is a review copy from Freeform Books. I think this one's fantastic. Another book is Wicked Deep. Wicked Deep is by Shay Earnshaw. We have reviewed this one in the past. So just real briefly, this is a cursed town. 3 sisters come back every summer to take over some bodies and try to
Kill off some males.
Yeah, basically.
And the main character can see the ghosts of the sisters inhabiting the other girls.
Yep, definitely could be considered creepy.
Tombs by Deborah Schomburg. This is set in 1882 New York, and Avery Cole works in an ironworks factory, and she's quite traumatized from an event earlier in her life where her mom was taken away by these weird dudes wearing crow masks, and she was sent to kind of like an insane asylum because her mom could see things that she really shouldn't be seeing, otherworldly things. And she discovers that now she too has the same powers her mom had. And obviously her mom's not insane, but she has to learn how to master those powers if she's going to be able to save her mom and not wind up in the same cuckoo house as her mom.
Okay, A Map of Days by Ransom Briggs. This is book 4 in the Miss Peregrine series. And of course you saw the movie for book 1, right? So Jacob Portman is back in Florida, and Miss Peregrine and her friends are having a hard time trying to blend in. They're searching for clues to his grandpa's double life and to find out a little bit more about what's really going on and everything that's happening. A review of this one will be available soon. We do have a review copy of this one that we're not quite ready to review for you yet, but it's Miss Peregrine and it's book 4, so do you actually need a review?
You just go read it, because I can tell you right now, it will probably be a 5-star review.
Hashtag Murder Trending. This was also a review book, and it was from Freeform Books. This one is creepy, and we've done a full review on it. This is Dee Guerrera, 17-year-old. She is sentenced to Alcatraz 2.0, which is that little island between Oakland and San Francisco. You know, Paradise Island, maybe you've seen it on the bridge. She's sent to Alcatraz 2.0 for murdering her stepsister, and she's like, I didn't do it! What is going on here? So she has this really dark secret in her past, and that's gonna play into her story as well, and to her fears. Well, this takes place in the near future, and there's this...
It's all broadcast over social media.
Yeah, and Alcatraz Island 2.0 is federally sponsored, and basically they send serial killers here so they can kill the prisoners who have killed people in these sick, sadistic ways, and everything in their day is online. So you can like vote for people, and the more votes, the more likely they are to be killed. And anyways, dark, creepy. Okay, just read like the first chapter and you're gonna go, what in the world is going on? I need to read this, because you have this one serial killer who has never been spoiled before. He's always succeeded, and she wakes up and he's about to kill her. And instead she kills him, and she's like, what in the world just happened? I'm going to survive. And I'm going to prove that I did not kill my sister. Wow. That's your setup. Pretty dark. Don't know who can trust who, because again, some of them, like, how many of them are actually killers and how many of them aren't?
You have an untrustworthy narrator. Interesting.
Yep, great book.
Antihero.
I'm gonna say that one's for grades 10 and up because it has language, violence, gore, murders. Yeah, you get the idea. So ages 15 and up.
Most of these young adult ones you're gonna find tend to range a little higher.
Of course, you know, these are just guidelines. You know your comfort point, and every child's different.
Labyrinth Lost by Zoraida Cordova. So this is a book about Alex, and her family practices witchcraft, and she's pretty much denounced it. In fact, she wants to sabotage her own, this sounds so Harry Potter, like Death Day coming of age birthday party. And she not only sabotages it, she ends up somehow sending her whole family to the underworld and has to go into the underworld to rescue them. It's a very intriguing adventure full of more macabre content, but it's fun for Halloween. I would recommend it at least for 13 and up, maybe even a little older, depending on your child.
Or yourself. A couple we've already reviewed, but you might be interested in. Mary's Monster by Lita Judge. This is a biography, but it's told in that format where there's a lot of pictures and some words. It's an illustrated biography, and it's the illustrated biography of Mary Shelley, and the pieces that affected her life and the author's perspective, the pieces that affected her to create Frankenstein. Okay, Staggs by Ma Bennett. This is one we've also reviewed in the past. This one has mostly violence, tiny bit of language, autumn term, boarding school, and there's a mysterious invitation that invites a scholarship student, our main character, Greer, to go hunting, shooting, and fishing. But this midterm weekend at the Manor Longcross of Henry de Wallencourt, who's popular, cute, and wealthy, is maybe too much to pass up.
Despite the fact that he has an aversion to technology.
Yes, and you can watch our entire review on how disturbing this book can actually be.
Reflection by Elizabeth Lim. This is a twisted tale from Disney Hyperion. Also a review book from Disney Hyperion. This is the story of Mulan, and it starts after their battle with the Hun. Li Shang has been gravely injured, and Mulan actually has to head into DU, which is their version of the underworld, to get him back from King Llama. King Llama, however, doesn't want to quite easily so give up his new prize, and so he makes a deal. She has to find a way to find Li Shang and get him out of DU before the sun rises, or she will forever have to stay in DU with King Llama. Seems slightly straightforward, Not really. Because there's also the Lady of Forgetfulness, who, when you're about to go into your next life, she gives you this potion to make you forget. But she doesn't want to give up her prize either, so now she is after Mulan and Li Shang and is determined to do anything in her power to stop them from reaching out the edge of DU. I like this book a lot because I love the series, the Twisted Tale series. It's very adventurous, full of action, has some horror elements for Halloween, and will keep you turning the page from page 1 all the way to the end. It's a must-have and a must-read. This one can go a little bit younger than some of the others have. I would say grade 7 and up, or ages 12 and up.
The Forgotten Book by Mechthild Glaser. This is your author of The Book Jumper, and it is translated from German. I'm going to recommend this for grades 7 through 12, but do be aware that it takes place in Europe. Their drinking age is a little less than that in the United States. I believe it is 16. And so you have some alcohol use in the book and some minor language. The book does start a little slow, but her books usually do, and then they build. And the suspense builds. So this is supposedly like a Pride and Prejudice Jane Austen inspired book. I didn't necessarily see it that apparent, but that's because I'm not a huge Jane Austen fan. I'm sorry, I've read them, but it's been a while. Okay, so you have Emma. Emma finds this book. Father is the headmaster of this boarding school in Germany, and it's in an old castle. She wants to hold a literature club in the library and says, hey, we'll clean up the library, and I'd like to be in charge of this book club, you know, and that's when she finds the book. And this is definitely an old book, and it's kind of like a journal type looking book. And she's like, okay, well, I'm gonna take this and look at it and see what's going on. It looks like she's about to have this relationship start happening with the guy she's got a crush on. His name's Frederick, and it might be happening. But Darcy de Winter comes, and his family owns the castle. It has kind of this dark past. His sister disappeared a few years ago, and he decides he doesn't like the noise, well, or is it more of a control issue? And he decides to kick the book club out of the library. So this book, The Chronicle, has this mysterious power to make things happen. Could this mysterious power be dangerous? And is it more than it seems? What really happened to Darcy's twin sister? It's a good book. It's for your better readers because of the way its plot builds. It's complex, but again, it does start out a little slower. So stick with it. Keep reading this book. Give it a chance. I really enjoyed it, and I did not expect exactly what was in store for us.
I know I really liked the first one, so I can't wait to read the
She's
second.
a great writer. She just has a very different writing style than a lot of people are used to. So she's going to appeal again to those better readers. Baba Yaga by Jane Yolen. This is a review copy from Tor Books. And this is told in verse. It is Natasha. Natasha has like this really controlling father, and her mother's kind of, well, her mother's not much help. So one day she finally gets up the courage to leave, and she ends up finding the chicken house with the Baba Yaga. You know who the Baba Yaga is, a witch who rides around in a cauldron from Russian folklore. This is a fantastic book. It's really short. It's around 90 to 100 pages, and it's a fun, quick Baba Yaga story you're going to enjoy. Bill's own graphic novel series by Scott Westerfield. We have reviewed book 1, and we will be reviewing book 2 shortly. Just so you know, it is fantastic, and this is another graphic novel that I cannot keep in stock.
Full of zombies.
Yes, it's a zombie story. Okay.
And of course, don't forget there's always Edgar Allan Poe's stories in any version, including a graphic novel version by Manga Classics that we have reviewed as well.
One book I have read this year, a nonfiction book that I think is perfect for Halloween because it's a real crime story, is The Devil in White City by Erik Larson. This has alternating chapters on building of the Chicago World's Fair, and H.H. Holmes, who is a serial killer. Or was he deemed the reason they made the word serial killer, I think? It's creepy. I thought...
Some even think he was Jack the Ripper.
Right. And I think that... I thought the first half was a little boring because they were setting everything up, but you need the background for the second half of the book, which is not boring at all. And some people...
And you're glad to have the background information once you get to that second half.
Right. But some people really like that part of the book. And it's very macabre, dark. Oh my gosh. H.H. Holmes is just totally demented. I really love how the historical figures in the book that we know tie in with the story, and you see what was really going on in history, and you see even... Okay, you've got to read the book, because you're not going to believe all the historical figures that make an appearance in this book. So nonfiction, adult, and dark.
Kill Creek by Scott Thomas. Take 4 writers who write horror, put them in a house together for a weekend, make them very troubled, and then see what happens. Because in this book, in Kill Creek, all their insecurities come to light, and it becomes a psychological horror.
Wait, they really did this or not?
No, it's a fiction novel.
Okay. I thought 4 writers wrote it.
I promise it's a psychological horror.
It was written by Scott
Fiction.
Thomas. Times Convert by Deborah Harkness. This is about newly turned vampire Marcus, and he learns to deal with these ancient traditions that are present from the de Clermont family, and he must find love. You get a romance.
So I will have a review of this book later on.
So anything by Stephen King, Dean Koontz,
Anne Rice.
I love Anne Rice. The Mummy is one of my favorites, and some of her others are absolutely fantastic.
Little Heaven by Nick Cutter. These free mercenaries get hired to get this lady out of this cult. But when they get to this cult in Little Heaven, they discover there's a lot more sinister things going on, and it's a little bit more than a cult. It's more gruesome. Definitely an adult book. I would recommend it for anybody who likes things like Stephen King.
Well, we could keep coming up with more books that are appropriate for Halloween reading. If you need more, watch the previous 2 episodes. Or we have some other episodes that focus on some dark and creepy books that are not Halloween as well. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. When you subscribe, you actually want to hit that bell notification so that you do hear about future videos. And until next time, happy reading. Bye!